The motorcycle landscape has shifted dramatically in recent years. New tech, changing rider preferences, and economic factors have turned yesterday's hot bikes into today's cold leftovers. Now, the following 10 motorcycles have all fallen from grace and become essentially worthless investments in 2025. Now, if you're shopping for a used bike, you might want to stay clear of these depreciation disasters. Now, before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, your #1 resource for automotive gems. Number 10. The Suzuki Boulevard M109R. I remember when the M109R was Suzuki's muscle cruiser king? Well, those days are long gone. The Boulevard hasn't seen meaningful updates since dinosaurs roamed the earth. Sure, its 1800cc V-twin still cranks out some decent power, but everything around that engine feels like a relic from another era. The suspension technology might as well be from the 1990s, harsh, non-adjustable, and completely outclassed by newer bikes costing half as much. Riders report electrical gremlins showing up at around 30,000 miles. Good luck finding replacement parts when, not if, things break. Suzuki's dealer network continues shrinking yearly, leaving owners stranded when problems arise. Gas mileage? Terrible. Comfort on longer rides? Even worse. The market has moved on while the M109R stayed frozen in time. Newer cruisers deliver superior handling, modern electronics, and actual comfort without the Boulevard's boat-like turning radius. The final nail in the coffin? Resale values have crashed harder than a new rider on wet leaves. When dinosaurs become extinct, vultures circle overhead. Number 9. Now, Harley tried something new with the Sportster S. They really did, but they missed the mark by a country mile. That fancy Revolution Max engine runs hot enough to cook eggs on the exhaust, not ideal when stuck in traffic. The rear suspension travel measures a pathetic 2 inches, making every pothole feel like hitting a crater on the moon. And forget bringing a friend along. That tiny excuse for a passenger seat belongs in a torture museum. Price tag problems plague this bike too. Now, for what Harley charges, you could get 2 better motorcycles from competing brands. The maintenance costs will drain your wallet faster than a slot machine in Vegas. Now, even die-hard Harley fans have abandoned this model, creating a used market wasteland where desperate sellers slash prices weekly. Navigation is a nightmare with that tiny screen. Fuel range causes constant anxiety, and ground clearance makes speed bumps your mortal enemy. The Sportster S represents everything wrong with motorcycles that prioritize style over substance, resulting in a bike that doesn't excel at anything except disappointing its owner. From American iron disappointments to German engineering mistakes. Number 8. The BMW R18. BMW thought they could capture the cruiser market with the R18. Well, they were wrong. That massive 1800cc boxer engine sticking out on both sides looks cool in photos, but burns your legs in reality. Try maneuvering this 800-pound beast through a parking lot. You'll need forearms like Popeye and the patience of a saint. The turning radius rivals that of a small yacht. Let's talk about that laughable rear suspension, or lack thereof. Now, BMW's heritage-inspired hardtail look translates to a spine-crushing ride on anything but perfect pavement. Owners report constant oil leaks from those exposed valve covers, a charming feature that ruins garage floors nationwide. The R18's digital display belongs in 2010, not in 2025. Service costs will bankrupt you faster than a gambling addiction. And good luck finding BMW technicians who actually understand this oddball engine configuration when problems arise. Most devastating is the depreciation. These bikes lose 40% of their value upon leaving the dealership. Current owners can't give them away on the used market, creating a perfect storm of worthlessness. Leaving German excess to Japanese underachievement. Number 7. The Kawasaki Vulcan S. Kawasaki's attempt at a sporty cruiser has aged about as well as milk left in summer sun. The Vulcan S suffers from an identity crisis, not committed enough to be a proper cruiser, and not capable enough to be a sport bike. That 650cc engine, borrowed from the Ninja series, feels utterly breathless on highways. Crack that throttle for an overtake and prepare to be disappointed. The plastic-fantastic approach to construction means everything rattles after 10,000 miles. Those fancy ergo-fit adjustments Kawasaki bragged about? Well, they loosen constantly, creating handlebar wiggles that terrify riders at speed. Now, paint quality issues plague every model year. The finish starts fading after just one season. The stock exhaust rusts faster than a nail in salt water. And that single front disc brake barely stops the bike, making emergency situations genuinely dangerous. Dealer support vanished as Kawasaki focused on their more profitable models. Finding parts becomes a treasure hunt. The aftermarket never embraced this oddball, leaving owners with few customization options. With resale values in free fall, the Vulcan S represents one of the worst motorcycle investments of the decade. Now, are you shopping for a used bike and want to avoid these costly mistakes? Please take a moment to comment and hit that like button to help other riders find this video. When mediocrity meets neglect, look toward Austrian disappointment. Number 6. The KTM 1290 Super Duke GT. Money pit. Now that's the kindest description for KTM's failed sport touring experiment. The Super Duke GT promised continental touring ability with sport bike performance. Instead, it delivered headaches, warranty claims, and stranded riders. Those complex electronics, they fail with frustrating regularity. Warning lights illuminate randomly, sometimes shutting down the bike entirely mid-journey. KTM's notorious quality control issues become evident around 15,000 miles when parts start loosening, breaking, or simply falling off. The quickshifter works perfectly, except when it doesn't, which is about half the time. Cooling system problems create overheating nightmares during summer rides. Maintenance costs crush owner spirits and wallets. The service schedule reads like a hostage demand list, requiring expensive attention every few thousand miles. Finding qualified technicians outside major cities is nearly impossible. That supposedly comfortable seat becomes an instrument of torture after just a couple of hours. Wind protection from that adjustable screen? Laughable at best. The fuel range anxiety is real with that thirsty engine. And that final insult? Catastrophic depreciation has made these bikes nearly impossible to sell without taking out a massive financial loss. Next, from European maintenance nightmares to Japanese missed opportunities. Number 5. Honda phoned it in with the Shadow Phantom, and it shows. This motorcycle hasn't seen meaningful updates since flip phones were cool. That air-cooled 745cc V-twin feels asthmatic compared to modern cruisers. Acceleration? Don't expect any. Highway passing requires prayer and patience in equal measure. The suspension technology dates back to when cassette tapes were popular. Soft, mushy, and completely overwhelmed by modern road conditions. Those drum rear brakes belong in a motorcycle museum, not on a bike sold in 2025. Emergency stopping distances are genuinely scary. The 5-speed transmission feels clunky and outdated when competitors offer 6 gears with smooth shifting. The stock seat numbs everything below your waist after just 45 minutes. And electrical system limitations mean adding modern accessories requires some complicated workarounds. Honda's legendary reliability is the only thing preventing this bike from ranking even lower. But reliability alone can't save a design that's been abandoned by time, technology, and consumer preferences. Buying a Shadow Phantom is like throwing money directly into a shredder. When traditional becomes outdated, even British classics struggle. Number 4. The Triumph Bonneville Bobber. Triumph created the Bobber for Instagram, not actual riding. Look past the carefully staged photo shoots, and you'll find a motorcycle that sacrifices everything practical on the altar of style. That floating solo seat looks fantastic in photos, but becomes an instrument of torture after just 30 minutes. The rear suspension travel measures about as long as your thumb. Hitting a pothole feels like being kicked by a horse. Fuel capacity would embarrass a moped. Plan your route around gas stations because you'll need them every 100 miles. The riding position forces you into a hunched posture that orthopedic surgeons love. It guarantees them future business. Mechanical issues plague these bikes as they age. Oil leaks develop around the head gaskets. The electronics suffer from mysterious gremlins that dealers struggle to diagnose. That beautiful paint finish chips easily and costs a fortune to repair correctly. Triumph's quality control became notoriously inconsistent during production runs. Some bikes run flawlessly, while others spend more time in the shop than on the road. With the present market, current owners can't escape their stylish but deeply flawed purchases. From British fashion failures to American heritage disappointments. Number 3. Indian Scout 60. Indian's budget offering has become a cautionary tale in motorcycle ownership. The Scout 60 suffers from corner cutting that becomes painfully obvious after purchase. That 60 cubic inch engine, hence the name, lacks refinement. Vibrations increase dramatically as miles accumulate. And that transmission, well, shifts with all the precision of stirring thick soup. Electrical problems emerge like clockwork around 15,000 miles. Fuel injection issues trigger frustrating starting problems in cold weather. The belt drive, supposedly maintenance-free, often needs adjustment or replacement far earlier than advertised. The suspension would have been considered inadequate a decade ago. In 2025, it's simply unacceptable. Ground clearance limitations mean scraping pegs during even moderate cornering. Those factory brakes require a strong grip and advanced planning to stop effectively. Indian's dealer network remains sparse compared to competitors, making service appointments frustrating exercises in logistics. Parts availability worsened after recent corporate restructuring. Current owners find themselves trapped with motorcycles that nobody wants to buy at any reasonable price. American disappointments give way to Italian heartbreak. Number 2. The Ducati Monster 937. Now, Ducati's Monster used to define the naked bike segment. With this, it defines regret. The 937 model abandoned everything that made the Monster special. That revised chassis, prone to dangerous instability at highway speeds. The fueling is notoriously inconsistent, smooth one moment, jerky the next, with no apparent pattern. Heat management became an afterthought, cooking riders' legs in traffic. Electronics problems plague these bikes with frustrating persistence. Dash displays develop dead pixels. Quickshifters work intermittently. The keyless ignition system occasionally refuses to recognize its own fob. Maintenance costs crush owner spirits. Valve adjustments require dealer visits costing more than monthly car payments. The fragile plastic components crack and break during normal use. Finding qualified service outside major cities ranges from difficult to impossible. Even Ducati enthusiasts, normally a forgiving bunch, abandon this model in droves. Forum threads overflow with regretful owners warning others to stay away. Resale values collapsed as reliability problems became widely known. The Monster 937 represents a tragic fall from grace for a once legendary motorcycle line. Lastly, we move to the king of electric disappointments. Number 1. The Harley-Davidson LiveWire. Harley's electric gamble has become the biggest motorcycle value disaster of 2025. The LiveWire arrived with massive hype and an even more massive price tag. Years later, those early adopters are underwater financially. Depreciation hit these bikes like a wrecking ball. 70% value loss within 3 years. That's not a motorcycle. It's a financial catastrophe with handlebars. Battery degradation issues emerged sooner than expected. Owners report range dropping by 20% after just 15,000 miles. The charging infrastructure remains inadequate despite promises of improvement. That claimed 146-mile range? Only possible under laboratory conditions. Real-world riders report significantly less. The proprietary charging system limits flexibility compared to competitors. Software updates frequently create new problems while fixing old ones. Parts availability became increasingly problematic as Harley quietly reduced support. Early reliability issues never fully resolved despite multiple recalls. The complex electronics developed mysterious failures that leave riders stranded. Those innovative touch interfaces? They glitch regularly in wet conditions. The final insult to this mess? Newer electric motorcycles offer better performance, range, and reliability at half the price. Now, the LiveWire stands as a cautionary tale of being an early adopter in the rapidly evolving electric motorcycle segment. Found this information helpful? Slam that like button and make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you never miss automotive content from us. And hey, if you know someone shopping for a used motorcycle, sharing this video might just save them thousands. Thanks for watching.